Hello again. It's Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. We are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post here in our Wing Nation studios in Concord, North Carolina, joined from the Lethal Chassis Studios in Pennsylvania by Ashley Strummy. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I am great. It is Weikert weekend, so couldn't be better.
I know. We cannot wait. We've got live shows from the Speed Palace. Now, my understanding here, Ashley, is the commercial building is also going to be a wine and beer bar. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing, right?
It already is, yes. Wreckers or Checkers is what they're calling it this season.
Oh, boy.
They've got TVs set up in there. I don't know if they'll have vodka lemmies. I might have to talk to them about that, but definitely wine slushies.
Wow. Wreckers or Checkers. Boy, that describes Port Royal. Not even the racing. That has nothing to do with the racing either. That describes Weikert weekend.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think I don't know that I've ever seen the checkered, but boy, I've seen some wreckers, that's for sure. So
as long as we don't see rain.
There we go. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Exactly. Hey, we've got a great program. We're going to talk to Danny Dietrich more about the Weikert weekend and so much more when we get into that portion of the show. But before we get there, let's take a lap around the sprint car world. Let's go into turn number one. This past weekend, Ashley, the All-Stars and IRA teamed up in Wisconsin. I love when series get together and do this. And boy, on Saturday night, the All-Stars took it right on the chin in Sheboygan. Plymouth Dirt Track, Bill Baylog picked up the win. Yeah, he's an All-Star, but he's a 10-time IRA champion. Baylog was rolling on Saturday night.
He was, and no stranger to those tracks out there, no doubt about it. Second consecutive All-Star win at Plymouth and his third career series victory. Obviously, he knows those tracks almost like the back of his hand, even though he is the North Pole Nightmare.
Yes, indeed. Danny Schlafer, I believe it is. I met him up there a couple years ago. He's a great guy, finished second. Scotty Thiel, an IRA-ish. He's traveling a little bit this year, finished third. Hunter Schoenberg and Kyle Reinhardt did put the All-Stars in the top five with Baylog, wherever he fits in on that. Sunday night at Angel Park, it was a cowboy-up racetrack. One of the drivers we have had so much fun getting to know and talk to, and is off to a good start this season. Hunter Schoenberg picked up the win, Ashley.
Yes, third All-Star win of the season. He leads series in wins currently. And top five All-Stars out there were Schoenberg, Justin Peck, Parker Price Miller, Bill Baylog, and Tyler Courtney. So he kind of led the way for the rest of those All-Stars.
Yeah, he really did. The show was the North Pole Nightmare, 2 times to the work area with the best car and came back to finish fourth. So Bill Baylog was the show, but Hunter Schoenberg picked up the win. That is turn number one. Let's go to turn number two, the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, and Freddie Rahmer picked up his second win of the season. Ashley, a different situation for Freddie this year, and it's got to be neat. It's got to be unique to them. It's been such a family-run team to have Freddie driving for Rich Eichelberger's got to be a big change for everybody.
You know, I thought about that when I first heard the announcement, and then when we talked to Freddie, and he said, Rich is kind of letting us do, our deal just with his stuff. And then I was like, okay, this isn't going to take long. It's not like they're trying to adjust anything or change things. It's just a new car, new team, new number. So I'm not surprised that he's finding victory lane and having success in that car.
Yeah, and they came right out and they won the icebreaker. So it's like, oh boy, batten down the hatches. And it's been a little bit of a struggle, but on Saturday night, he got the win, and it is his 20th career win. Ashley, this is little Freddie. This is being pushed around the racetrack. 20 wins at Lincoln Speedway. When did that happen?
I'm not real sure, because you're right. It is little Freddie. I remember him, as a kid. I was a kid too, but growing up at the racetrack, watching his dad race, he was just a kid. It's hard to believe that he is chalking the leads down and still has a very large career in front of him. So I'm sure he'll be etching his name in the history books.
Yeah, no doubt going forward. That's for sure. Now, one of the reasons I think Freddie hadn't won as much at Lincoln was Danny Dietrich, because Danny had that place wired up for a while. And so we'll have to see how this rolls as we get into the summer months. And that's what we're going to do here today. Danny Dietrich is going to join us. So stay with us. When we come back, we'll go to the Hercules Tire Hotline and we'll chat with Danny Dietrich. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Let's go to the Hercules Tire Zoom line. Joining us from up in the great state of Pennsylvania is Danny Dietrich. Hello, Danny. Welcome back to Wing Nation. How are you, man?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Of course, we are all jacked up. Ashley and I talked about it in our first segment. The Weikert weekend coming up there for the Weikert Memorial. A lot of money on the line, a big event, a lot of fun. You are the driver for the Weikert family. You represent the team well. What's that been like, Danny, getting to know that iconic family and being part of their program?
Getting to know them. They're just like you and I. You know, they're easy to get along with, want to have a good time, and love racing. So they're just great people that want to give back and really enjoy the racing and always have. And they're just great people to be around all the time.
Danny, I know that you didn't really know Bob growing up. I think he was before your time, but I know that the guys, the brothers, Todd and Ike, have really tried to keep his kind of value and his morals along with everything and kind of keep his spirit alive. And I've heard several times that they say that you really kind of fit that mold. Do you have anything to say about that and what the stories you've heard about Bob and how that really translates to who you are?
I think just the personality that I have and the way I like to voice my opinion would probably go well with Bob. I know it goes well with the rest of the family, you know, and I think they enjoy that, the no filter kind of thing, you know, and just kind of let it all out there and be real. So I think that's what they like the most about it. And I like to think that sometimes, you know, it might go a little too far, which is about what they want.
I sense that, especially with Todd. I've talked to Todd about that some, and he just chuckles and loves it. He's really, really cool with it, and that's a great combination because you are one of the guys. Danny, are there moments you say go no filter? Are there times though when you're like, okay, maybe are there times with your social media, with your chatter that you do pull back or do just kind of do have a filter to what you do?
Well, when you got as many people who follow you, look up to you, or hate you as much as I do, you got a little bit of everything. You do got to filter a little bit. You got to watch and regulate what you say. And I feel like I've done a little bit better job lately than I used to do. I used to be before, you know, it would be a lot more controversy. Now I feel like I try and make a little more facts out of my posts or my opinions and you know, have a little more backing to what I might have to say. And you know, it used to be I just sit down on the couch and have a couple beverages and let it rip, and now it's kind of not have as many beverages and not let it rip as much.
To talk about that, obviously, you know, there's the keyboard warriors, the people that will be honest and tell you to your face that they don't appreciate it. And then there's the people that support you. And of course, you need all three to be successful in some way, somehow. Do you think that it hurt? I mean, obviously you've got to put that stuff out of your mind. And I know that you don't always take it to heart, but there's always that one that like checks the list for you, isn't there?
Not really. I've been doing this long enough to know that like I've gotten really good at just putting something out there and then just letting it go and not even responding, you know. And then you go back and you look at some of these guys and you just think, man, you make yourself look like more of an idiot than I do, you know. And yeah, that's like a win in my book. You know I do it to myself. I'm okay with it, you know. And it used to be maybe, you know, 10 years ago where I'd fire back, but now it's it don't bother me at all. I got enough experience with some of these you know, keyboard warriors that yeah, it's kind of fun to watch them bury themselves on the internet.
I'm with you. I love it. I think it's fantastic. That's for sure. Bob Weikert was known for fast race cars and winning race cars. Danny, when I look at your season, particularly at the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, you've over the course of this year had a pretty good car. How do you assess where your program's at this point in the year?
You know, I think we're really good at Lincoln. I think we're actually pretty good at the Grove. We do struggle at times at the Grove. Everybody thinks I've always been so good at the Grove. I really haven't. You know, we've won some big races there, but we really haven't won a lot of races, you know, for the amount of years I've been racing over there. So, you know, I'd say the percentage is probably my lowest going there, you know. Port Royal, we've had some really good speed at Port Royal. I think we've only been there 3 or 4 times. And I want to say I started 17th twice and 10th another time, I think. And I think we finished in the top 5 all 3 times. So we've got really good speed going into the Weikert weekend here. And you know, even at the Grove, when I say we're not fast, I don't know why, but I don't win a lot of races. Probably because Lance Louis still races. But you know, in reality, we don't have bad speed at the Grove. I think we can click off a win at any moment. We just need to get Lance to retire.
I hopefully hope that doesn't happen anytime soon, because I want to see Davey every single weekend I possibly can. Love that, man. But Danny, you talk about Port. You haven't been there much this year. Be honest, how come? Well, you've been making the track to Lincoln. Obviously, it's been working out well for you, landing in victory lane many times. But what's the real honest truth as to why you haven't been to Port much this year?
Just want to get our confidence back. It's close to home. When we originally did our schedule, our plan was to get back to Lincoln more often. The win ratio is higher there. It pays the bills a little better. And it's 20 minutes away from the shop, 25 minutes max on a bad day. So, it's close. It's cheap to get to. It's cheaper on tires. You go to Port Royal, it seems like we kill tires left and right all the time. So, just economics, and trying to make more sense of our racing team and keep our confidence level high. And I'd say it's working out pretty well. I have more confidence going to Lincoln and running so well. When I leave there and go to Port, confidence goes a long way. So, if you go to Port Royal too many times and you get your teeth knocked in or kicked in, because you're trying to do this or do that, I'd rather just go up there and be fast once a month rather than go up there and, have 1 week where you're fast, the next week you don't feel like you are. And sometimes I feel like that happens up there a lot just because of the track surface they got. It's very, very, very slick, very technical, and it's a lot of momentum, and it's pretty easy to lose a half a second and it take 5 laps to get that half a second back on another car.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch it, especially when they pan back on Flow Racing or Dirt Vision when the Outlaws are there, because that momentum is so key. Danny, you talked about the cost of the sport right now. You mentioned tires. Of course, that's been one of the big buzzwords. Your other job beyond a racer is the family business, Racers New and Used Parts Warehouse. When we talk about, and Ashley and I talked about this last week on our podcast, parts and pieces, nuts and bolts, tires, if you want to include them in there, where do you at? What do you feel like? Where are we at with all of the equipment and gear to go racing at this point in our society, in our country?
Yeah, everybody knows tires are an issue, and the price of tires is going through the roof. A lot of people don't realize that tires are just a small portion of this. We've seen 25% increases across the board. It seems like, I don't know the exact number. Every manufacturer is a little bit different, but I would say that everything seems to increase about 20%, 25% on the parts side of things. And I think a lot of the manufacturers being able to get caught up, and we're able to get parts. But the expense of racing has just gone through the roof. The cost of fuel is going up. Everybody knows that. So we're just trying to stretch that dollar as far as we can with our race team. And I try and, more than just the driver here on my end, I try and manage the whole team in a sense, and take that burden off of Gary. And, it's expensive, it's very expensive, and we're trying to just, like I said, stretch that dollar as long as we can and see what we can do.
So Danny, does that mean you'll be staying on the porch more this year? Or will you be making the trek out west again this year?
We're going to run Ohio Speed Week. We're going to run Eldora. We're going to go to New York with the All-Stars. That's the plan. We're not going to go to Knoxville. We decided that long before the fuel prices were going way up. Hotel costs are up, and it's just a long haul. That trip has really killed this race team. Because it seems like every year we go to Knoxville and you come home right away and you got All-Star Weekend, a 4-race weekend. It seems like we've always come home from Knoxville and you got Grandview, Williams Grove, Lincoln, and it's been Babs, and until you get back on late on a Sunday and get the trailer unloaded and just in the middle of the summer, it wears you out. My guys all work, I work, and we don't have anybody that's full time on this race team. So we're trying to pick and choose our battles a little bit better this year. And we just decided that going to the Kings Royal for 4 days made more sense money-wise, hotel-wise, logistics-wise, and the guys don't have to take as much time off work to go to the big 4 big events.
You mentioned Gary. I had the chance last fall. I was up there, and Gary gave me a tour of the place, and I think he's just a neat guy. I love visiting with him, love chatting with him. How did this all come about? And obviously it seems like it's working for you. It's got to be, there's few and far between car owners up there. You look like you have yourself a pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, Gary's very loyal. We're like family,
Yeah.
I call him dad every once in a while. He calls me son, and our relationship's just really good. I don't know of any owner drivers in this area that I could say would probably be a better relationship than the two of us. And we struggle together, we win together, and we understand there's a lot of highs and lows, and we understand where we can win more races at a place like Lincoln because I feel like it's a racier joint than most places in the area, and it seems like every year me and him get together about this time of year and we say, okay, are we going to run for points or what are we going to do? And because every year it seems like we get ourselves in a situation where we don't want to run for points, and we're just consistent enough with the Grove to be the point leader right now. And at the end of the day, we both understand each other with whatever decision we make, it ends up being the right one, and that's just the chemistry that we have.
Interesting because Gary Kaufman, obviously the Weikerts, yourself, to say the least, y'all are three peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together. And it's incredible. So I'm curious, have you had that discussion? It sounds like you have. And so what's the plan? Are you running for points?
No. I mean, we're leading them. I mean, of course, if we only got to skip one race here or there, maybe to have a chance at them, that'd be one thing. But we're not going to change our whole summer plan of going to Eldora and Ohio Speed Week and New York with the All-Stars. We're not going to change that just to try and win the point. So if it come down to it and we had to skip a weekend or going away or maybe just one race, that might be one thing, and it's like we currently come up on Ohio Speed Week here in 2 weeks and we're going to Attica on Friday. Now, of course, every race team, we watch the weather. So if Attica looks like it's going to rain and Williams Grove looks like it's going to race, we're going to go to Williams Grove probably, but as of now, there's nothing changing. We're gonna continue with the schedule we had planned, and hopefully it works out in the better.
How do you gear up for Ohio Speed Week, followed immediately by Pennsylvania Speed Week? What does that take, Danny?
Very grueling, very demanding. You got to make sure you got your motors pretty fresh, and you got to make sure you got enough crew help lined up for both weeks. So everybody kind of takes turns, and it's a lot of fun though. I mean, I love it. I love to get racing, stay racing, and it's something I don't do during the summer is wake up, work on a race car, go to the track, other than like speed weeks, so I'm pretty excited to it kind of starts this weekend. I'll take off work and we'll go race. I wake up the next day, I get to work on a race car and go to the racetrack, and then days on end, just continue that over the course of the weekend where a lot of times we race on Fridays. I go to work Saturday morning for a few hours and then get ready to go racing. So it'd be nice to just be able to focus on one thing and just focus on going racing, and that's it, which is what I really truly enjoy about going to Ohio is you just drive back to the hotel and you're constantly racing.
Neat stuff, that's for sure. It all kicks off this weekend. The next portion of the season does anyhow with the Weikert Memorial up at Port Royal. Danny, we appreciate the time joining us here on the program. Look forward to catching up with you up there as we celebrate the Weikert family, and wish you the best at Williams Grove and then over at Port this weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. See you guys this weekend.
There we go. Danny Dietrich joining us on the Hercules Tire Hotline. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Ashley, it is always a pleasure catching up with Danny Dietrich.
Yes, you know that whatever comes out of his mouth is truly what he's thinking, whether you like it or not. He's honest.
I love the fact that he says, I do a pretty good job making an idiot of myself, and that just let some of the keyboard warriors make a bigger idiot of themselves. That's a win. I actually believe that's not a bad philosophy for most of us to live life by. If I can be a less of an idiot than most people, then I'm winning. So, I'll go with that. Let's do that. Little victories here, that's for sure. We dropped off with a lap around the sprint car world. We're right down in the middle of the backstretch. Let's head to turn number 3. Last Friday night at Attica, we have talked about great World of Outlaw sprint car races, great battles for the lead, great battles for the win. Well, once in a while, someone really hooks up and dominates one. This time it was Kyle Larson. Ashley, he just took it to everybody at Attica last week.
He did. And, Steve, I've got to admit, after watching him the last 2 years, it was kind of nice to see the old Kyle back, if you will. There was a time where guys were getting tired of seeing Kyle Larson show up at the racetrack. I feel like this year they're not so demanding of him, and he hasn't been on point as he was a couple years ago. So it's cool to see him back doing Kyle Larson things.
Yeah, he recently had those second place finishes at Bridgeport and Bristol. I think those were burrs under his saddle, but still, 26 wins in 118 starts, a 24% win percentage with the World of Outlaws. Not many people can boast of that.
No, absolutely not. And I'm not dogging
No,
Kyle in
I
any
agree
way,
with you.
shape, or form. I just remember the tear he was on, and it was like every race he showed up at, he was dominating every single lap.
Yeah, let's see who he's going to frustrate this week by passing. So you're right. Absolutely. Off turn number 3 from one NASCAR driver to another NASCAR driver. Turn number 4, Christopher Bell. C. Bell's Micromania coming up September 21st to the 24th. Now, Little Texas Motor Speedway is a 1/5 mile paved oval out back off from turn number 3, I believe, of Texas Motor Speedway. So it's a Legends track like they have at Charlotte and so many other places. What they're going to do down here, Ashley, is they are going to convert it to dirt. And Christopher Bell on that weekend is going to do a micro challenge paying $10,000 to win. I love when our Cup Series drivers, guys like Christopher Bell, get in the promotions business.
These guys, they grew up grassroots racing. Kyle, we just mentioned him. He had a late model race a few weeks ago. It's cool to see these guys giving back and being promoters and making races happen for the sport that they love and the dirt track side of things and paying really good money.
Yeah, the micro world has exploded. Christopher has 3 or 4 cars that he does. His father-in-law, Brian Kemenaugh, kind of sees some of the program. He's still in Ohio working with Cale Conley, but works with him on it. And they're just really, really tight. I get a chance to watch him at Millbridge some. He took it out to Shane Stewart's place out at Port City in Oklahoma and did well as well. This micro thing, and actually there's a pretty good micro crop up in Pennsylvania as well. This is a portion of the dirt track world that seems to be really, really on fire as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's kind of a feeder system. It's where everyone starts to get to sprint cars or late models or whatever it is. So it's a great avenue for these kids to break into it and continue to grow.
Really, truly is, that's for sure. So again, it's September 21st through the 24th. Little Texas Motor Speedway, C. Bell's Micromania. Going to be fun, that is for sure. But before that, it is Port Royal Speedway, the Speed Palace. Ashley, we have 2 shows live. We're in that commercial building, 5 o'clock both nights as we work into the race event. But the 1-hour show, while that's what Wing Nation is, that's what we're there for. Ashley, there's a whole lot more that goes into Weikert weekend than just our 1-hour show.
I'm going to be drinking wine slushies. I'm not sure what you have on your agenda, Steve. I know I'm also waving the green flag, not dropping it, waving it. But yes, there will be a wine slushie in my hand for sure at the Checkers or Wreckers.
Yeah, I think if you were there a few years ago, you saw me wandering around the grandstand stealing beers from people's coolers. I think I might do that. And that's where I got into those pudding shots. Oh, my gosh. Oh, dear God.
Donut day.
Oh,
Sunday
my
morning,
God.
Donut day.
And then last year we judged a camping contest. And I won a pie eating contest as well.
You did. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it is good. They do it up at Port Royal Speedway. Weikert weekend coming up this moment. We appreciate Danny Dietrich for joining us here on Wing Nation. More important, though, than all of that, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit.